big data can be cost prohibitive. And S3 is the de facto repo for data lake. So when you're talking about petabytes or even exabytes of data, it just as a subset needed for HPC or ML training, that's a big deal.
One of the use cases for FSx Lustre that usually spins people out when I explain it to them is this idea of a data repository association. So you've got a very large data repository sitting in S3, maybe a petabyte, maybe 20 petabytes, but you're going to put Lustre in front of that and actually elevate the content of that S3 file system or that S3 bucket into a POSIX file system in Lustre that's super high performance, and then you throw it away when you're finished with it.
So I'll just grab here an S3 bucket that I have on my account. There are some files here. I have some prefixes, and what's going to happen? I'm associating this few petabytes worth of data S3 bucket to my file system that I just created, right? So how I do that, I create what we call a data repository association. That's all you need to do. It's going to your file system, create a new data repository association. Here, first of all, you give it a file path on your file system. So let's, for example, call it S3 data here. So that's my /S3 data inside my file system. And then the S3 bucket. And that's all you have to do to start synchronizing your file system with S3.
I love that. 2 clicks. And of course, there's customizations you can do, but 2 clicks.
Yeah, that's important. So you have some knobs that you can adjust, and that customers love that. But if you want to play it really simple, that's what you need: the file path and the S3 bucket name. And when you create that association, first thing that will happen is when you check the import data from repository, it will basically take the entire structure that you have on your buckets, all the prefixes, and you transform that into metadata and stubs or placeholders on the file system. Which means that as soon as I create this, I can go to the file system, and when I ls, when I cp, when I mv, when I use POSIX, Linux, Unix commands on my file system, I'll be able to see everything that I have on S3 as a file system. And that's the interesting part, because even though you are seeing the entire bucket on your file system, you are consuming almost no space on your file system yet. Because all you have,
these are all stubs.
Exactly, just metadata. And then one last thing that you can optimize or create when you're creating this association is the automatic import and export. So you can ask Lustre to watch every single change on the bucket, like new changed and deleted file objects, and propagate that to the file system, and vice versa. You have the option to select this, or to select this just for specific situations, for example, just for deletions, just for change, or any combination of that. So you have the knobs there. If you don't touch the knobs, everything is going to synchronize by default. So this is after I created. So after I finish creating, that's what I see. I see a data repository association between the S3 and the buckets, right? I'm not consuming space until one or two things happens. So when I'm on the file system and I read the file for the first time, I will do what we call lazy loading. And the other way is preloading. So you have the option to preload the data, select specific files, and using Lustre client commands, you can preload the data or warm your data before a process.
And those commands that you actually run, the Lustre commands that you actually run to pre-warm the cache, those are commands you actually run on your Lustre client on your EC2 instance, for example, where you've got your Lustre file system mounted, right?
Right, that's correct. Yes, you can use commands like restore, release, that will send the data back to S3 if you want to release the space, or if you need to restore or preload the data, you just use a restore command.
There's a large pharma customer that I was visiting with that does exactly this. So they got a lot of instrumentation at the edge, and they're running cryo-EM applications. But they're doing exactly that. They're taking it from the edge and moving into S3. And then when they need to run these complex situations, they run it in FSXL, and then move the data back to S3 for cost savings.
Honestly, it actually really is as simple as Marcos just made it look. go and open up your console and create a file system and give it a spin.
We have a workshop available.
Brilliant. It'll take 2 hours to complete this workshop, and it's going to cost you $4. Correct.
Not quite. $4.17.
Well, you know, 14. Yeah, that 17 cents is a big deal. We should turn compression on, guys. See if we can get more out of that.
Squeeze it, yeah.
If you enjoyed this tech short, please give us a like and consider subscribing to the channel. If there's a topic you want us to focus on, reach out to us at askhpc@amazon.com. We want to make it easier for scientists and engineers to solve the world's hardest problems. We think the cloud can help by giving them access to powerful tools of any shape and size whenever they need them. And that's where you come in. Let us know what you need. We'll see you next time.